And good evening, friends, Romans, and countrymen. Give us both of your ears one more time. Whether you're down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great big world, we all, each and every one of us that you see on the screen, and this whole gang here at the Funny Farm welcomes you and thanks you for tuning in tonight. We have another delightful show. I couldn't think of a word, Ed. I just couldn't find it. It wasn't firing up right. Uh, a humdinger, a humdinger. That's what it is. It's a humdinger. But my oh my oh my. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to come in, put your comments up, ask questions, and get us out there. Share, 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 and share some more. Talk to your friends, your families. Crank up those devices. Used to be on the radios, we had knobs, and we used to say, turn that puppy up and break off the knob. But I guess you can't say that no more. So, but whatever device you got, use it. Tag people, share, holler across the hedge, down the street. Tell everybody that we are now on the air for another great show. My co-host Ed Temple out of Columbus, Ohio. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening.
I see that you're looking spry and right.
Yeah, I was just, I was thinking, I just start scratching my head. It's kind of on topic, even though it doesn't sound like it is, but it's really funny to hear people talk about home court advantage. I was listening to some announcers talk about home court advantage. You mean the people on the video screen? That's a home court advantage.
That's the home court advantage.
Oh, boy.
Everybody's doing the home court advantage nowadays. So.
I don't get it.
And we have with us, and she's the rose amongst the thorns, Tracey Chirhart out of Denver, Colorado. And my good buddy from a long way back. We go a long way back, Remus. He's such a delightful. Yeah, he's such a delightful fella. He's out there in Denver, Colorado, and I'm going to ask you that question, Remus. That the story about the bear, and don't let me forget, lest I forget.
All right.
That he told when he was on the radio the last time. I think about that all the time. Of Remus and the bear. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a true story. I'm telling you, it's a true story. That's the gospel truth. So, Tracey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Denver, Colorado, and grew up in an airline family, actually. Had a record player and played it all the time. So that's kind of was my introduction to music. Went on to college, got an internship with Capitol, and then, well, before that, Polydor Atlas, then after Capitol. Worked for the campus radio station, got the bug, knew this is what I wanted to do. And pretty much the rest is history, except for a brief break when I was a flight attendant for 10 years. That's just because the industry took a nosedive.
You, don't you play the piano?
I do.
Where did I see it? Did I see a piano one time we were talking, or
I don't know.
On your
I do have one upstairs, but
do you play it all the time?
No. I haven't. I actually don't play that much. I've been kind of teaching my kids a little bit, just a little here and there. But as far as playing, not so much anymore.
Did it make your fingers longer?
No, they're still real short.
And you're the owner of TAC Music Management, or Management
Yes.
Music. Which one is it?
Oh, I just had a little glitch going on there. What was that?
Is it TAC Music Management? Is that how you say
TAC Music Management.
it? Okay. All right. And you are the manager of the Remus Tucker Band, I suppose, also.
I am.
Remus, tell us a little bit about yourself, buddy.
Oh, I tell you what, I was brought up in the backwoods of Michigan, spent a lot of time down south, cut my teeth on bluegrass and when I was growing up, and found out that, the music industry is my lifeblood, and I've been doing it ever since. I moved out of Colorado 99 to kind of try the scene out here, and been doing it ever since. Got one album out, got more coming. And yeah, I like to fight bears.
Would you go ahead and tell us that story about the bear?
Might as well get it over with now.
When I moved, yeah, when I moved up here to the mountains, I was living off grid, and one night, I had a couple of dogs. One night, I was falling asleep, and my dog started going crazy, and so I get up, and I look, and didn't see anything. Went back to bed, and then a little while later, they started going crazy again, and this is. Gosh, it was probably getting towards daylight at that point. And so I looked out there, and there's a bear looking back at me. So about a 300-pound cinnamon bear. And so I yell at it to get going, and it starts to take off, and then it stopped. It turned around and started walking back. And so me being grouchy because I was woken up in the wee hours, I said, no, I'm not going to have that. You're not going to come in here and mess up my place. So I jumped up, grabbed the first thing that was a hand, which was a Bowie knife, and ran out the door. And I've never quite seen the look on a bear's face like I saw on that bear. I think it was utter disbelief and sheer terror. And so it spun around and started running, and I was running after it. It went into the road, and I started running after it down the road. So we went a little ways, and then finally it broke into the bushes and took off. And so I stopped and thought, yeah, that's right. Don't ever come back. And turned around, started walking back, and suddenly I looked down and realized that all I had was a Bowie knife, and if the bear wanted to, I could have been breakfast. But that's all right.
Well, is that a bear story?
Well, that's a true story, Ed.
Okay.
That's a true story.
There's actually a cartoon. And Westward Magazine here in Denver put out a cartoon on that. So.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
This is the Bowie knife I was carrying.
You sure that's not George's Vietnam knife?
No, that's a true story, Ed.
Okay, because George has got these Vietnam stories I went and checked up on, and he was only in the reserves or something.
Oh, the man busts on me all the time.
Hey, it's payback.
But Remus, I'll ask you like I asked the last time. You didn't give much thought about up and out after that bear, did you?
I didn't. No. My brain cells weren't firing quite like they should have. But you know what? I figured that was my place. Bears trespassing, and we all have to respect each other's territories.
But you didn't mention the old lightning. That helped.
Well, yeah.
That probably changed a few things right away. But anyhow, sometimes
what's funny is when I got back to my place, I looked at right next to the Bowie knife was a 44 caliber pistol that I could have easily grabbed, but hey,
Yeah, you was going to give the bear a chance anyhow. Is that how it worked?
That's right. Well, I got to be sporting.
That's right. That's right. Ever since he told me that story on the radio, because I read it. If you go to his website, at remistuckerband.com, it's on there. The man chased the bear. So I finally worked up enough nerve to ask him about it. And lo and behold, that's the story, Ed. And
you used to tell me that too. That's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Then I'd ask your wife. She'd say, "He was with me that day. What are you talking about?"
But that is the story. So, guys, and either one of you can go first. When this thing descended upon us back in March, in fact, my wife and I were making plans to come to Denver to get to make our appearance to all the folkses out there.
Really?
That we that you were so graciously kind enough to hook us up with, and we were going to make a trip out there, and then of course the thing fell down upon us all. Remus, you were going to cut another album. You guys were getting ready to look at a tour.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everything come to a screeching halt. Have you ever, in your wildest imagination, thought this would happen?
No. It's really kind of interesting how all this kind of came about. It just kind of exploded, and it's like everybody put the brakes on. And rightly so. I mean, it's a terrible thing happening right now to our country and the world. But I mean, who'd have guessed it? Who'd have thought that, in January, we were like, okay, we're going to go get the studio ready. We're going to, do this, get this album out. We're going to, do all these festivals this year and all that. And then before you know it, every festival said, that's, we're canceling. And it has put the brakes on everything. And which, I'm kind of glad that we have put the brakes on some things just so we can kind of slow this a little bit. But a lot of people have lost their lives out there, and it's a terrible thing. So the industry is really starting to suffer because of it.
Tracey, I'm sure it took you by surprise, like the rest of us.
Oh, yes.
What, if you can remember, what were some of your first thoughts when this thing came down on us?
Well, my initial thought, was school and the kids, and what's going to happen here. Are they going to be homeschooled? What are we going to do? After that initial shock and the homeschooling started, I started getting a little concerned about my career and actually everybody's career, honestly, because I don't think, with maybe the exception of a few industries, I think everybody's been affected. Yeah. I really do. And so got me thinking, well, we're going to have to start coming up with alternative methods to do things now. We can't rely on live music now. We can't rely on concerts. We can't rely on a lot of things that we used to. We're going to have to use technology and focus on that as our primary outlet for getting heard. And I knew it was going to change up a lot of things. It's just a matter of how long, and obviously it's going to be some time.
That's what I was going to ask Remus, and then Ed, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay.
Remus, did you think, and I've lost track, I don't even know how many months it is, 4 or 5 months now we've been into this thing, whatever it is, from March until now. Did you think that it would go this long, Remus?
I was hopeful. I was hopeful that it would, peak and die out like SARS did. We got a handle on that pretty quick when that hit. And the bird flu. I actually caught the bird flu when that was hitting, and was really sick. But that came and went fairly quickly, and so I was hopeful that this would do the same thing. And never in my wildest dreams did I think it would hold on this long. And it's not done. It's going to hold on for a lot longer. I think probably at least until 2022 before we start to see some semblance of normalcy. Once we get vaccines and stuff out there. But yeah, it has really thrown everybody for a loop. Studios and musicians and several of my friends who tour worldwide, they're sitting at home.
Ed?
I guess on that note, what do you have to do, or are you doing anything to be creative to get around this? Because we don't know how long this is going to go on, and I'll be honest with you, there seems to be forces out there that want this to extend as long as possible. So,
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, what are you doing? What can you do, or what are you already doing to be creative, to still get your music out there and not be shut down by the pandemic?
Well, there are a lot of things out there now for people to do recording in their home, like good quality digital recording in their home. So I'm setting that up in my place. I'm putting together my own studio here, and some of the other guys are doing the same thing. And just we'll record our parts, put them together, and master them and put them out. So I'm sitting here writing songs every day. I'm going through all the songs that I've already got written that are ready to work on for recording. So I think once we get all that set up, we'll be able to start doing stuff. It's really amazing the technology that is available out there now. So we'll definitely be back. We are going to be releasing stuff, and even without a regular studio, just because. Why not? I mean, if we can do it, we're going to do it. So we'll get that set up and we'll hit the airwaves again. It's really kind of amazing what technology has kind of blossomed out there now because of this sort of stuff.
And can you talk about maybe your as a musician, what's been your biggest moment?
Oh man. Well, I guess this kind of ties into me being a musician. My biggest moment was meeting Robert Plant. That was probably the biggest highlight in my life. And then of course playing with John Lee Hooker Jr. I mean, that was amazing. To be up on stage with him, and whenever he'd come to town, he'd say, "Hey, Remus, come on out," and I'd set in. So those are my two probably biggest moments in my career.
And then what are your big plans? And then I'm going to ask you a different question. It's on a totally different line. What are your goals? What are you trying to shoot for?
Goals are just to get these recordings done. I've got a lot of people wanting us to get this done and get it out. I've also got some other projects in the wings that I've been asked to do. So plans are to get these songs we got out, recorded and out there, and then do the projects that I'm being asked to do and get those out there, and just continue to keep ourselves moving. Moving forward. That's the big thing. I know a lot of people
any big hits?
give up. I'm sorry.
Have you had any Billboard top hits? I know the answer is yes because I've seen something.
Oh,
but if you had any big hits.
Yeah, we've had a lot of stuff chart out there. Lonely Mile is probably doing incredibly well, probably the best that we've had for quite some time. But Come On, which we released not long ago, that's doing great. So yeah, we've got a lot. I mean, the first album was doing pretty good, and that was without even a whole lot of power behind it, because that was before Tracey. Once Tracey got in the mix, then things kind of exploded, because she really opened up doors and got things really headed in the right direction for us. So we hope to have more hits. We hope to have some more stuff charting out there. Okay,
so this is on a totally different line. I've had just this week, I think 3 people asked me to join the Illuminati. So with respect to music, do you have any take on? I know. I just wrote a book about it, that there's been, some demonic stuff going on within music. There's no doubt about that there has been. But the real question is, how have you witnessed any of it? Is it pervasive to you in your line, or is that just, what you hear about and, it happens, but you're not really, involved in it or have ever been pushed that direction?
Well, Ed, if I told you, I'm afraid I'd have to make you disappear. That's the rule. So I'm afraid I can't go into too much detail. There are a lot of people out there, a lot of talk. Do I give it a lot of validity? There are some people out there that have made it amazingly huge. Are they talented? It's questionable, but they're making it huge out there. So I don't know. I'm not a member of the Illuminati. I never have been a member of the Illuminati, because frankly, I would never join an organization that would have me as a member. But I've seen. I mean, you see all sorts of stuff out there, right? You see groups doing incredibly well that probably shouldn't.
Right.
And you see other people who are just are amazing musicians who are not doing good at all.
Tracey, you've been in this business a long time.
On and off.
You work for Capitol, you work for Atlas. So you've seen a lot, and Remus has too. You've seen a lot of changes. You know, you used to be you had to get your record into the brick and mortar radio stations, you know, and jump through hoops and kiss people's rings, you know, and all the other type of things that they did.
Right.
Now we're down to what? I think there's like three music companies out there, or whatever you want to call them. That you know, there's Sony. Yeah. You've seen these changes. Remus has seen these changes. Some's been for the good, some's been for the bad, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you think that, and Remus mentioned with all this technology we have nowadays, on one hand, it's a good thing, but does it hamper the musicians at all? I mean, you know, now you can make your own records, like Remus said.
Right.
Build the recording studio in his home, and the other fellows are going to do that. Then you're going to mix it all, and, you know, do all that stuff. Is there a downside to that? And then Remus, maybe you might want to answer after that.
Well, anybody now can make music. That's the thing with technology. Anybody can sit down, download the software, and think that they're a musician. Mm-hmm. And then they can post it out there. They could get these streams, you know, call up their buddies or buy plays, you know, and buy likes and get their music out there. And it's just too saturated in a way. You know, it's hard to identify the talent anymore because there's just so much material out there.
Yeah, and digital music is, to me, that's just kind of boring, isn't it, George? What do you think? You know, everything. That's
music in a can, man. You know what I'm saying? That's music in a can. Now, if people heard Remus Tucker, and you're going to hear him tomorrow on the radio show, or you can go to the espenblog.com, the espenblog.com. Let me throw that up there because I threw some of his music up there as soon as I find myself there. Go there, or go to there, and you'll hear it. Now, when you hear Remus Tucker Band playing, Jack, that's music. I mean, that's real music. That'll get your toe tapping, your finger snapping, your head bobbing, and your booty shaking.
And it's not Illuminati.
Oh, no. It'll illuminate you, but it's not Illuminati. But that is real, genuine, down home, from the heart, deep in the soul kind of music. Now, I would stack that up against any one of this stuff that's in a can, like Tracey was talking about. You know, you can do the boom, 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 bop, you know, throw this in and a little bit of that in there. But these guys, and, you know, and I can name a whole list off of guests that I've had over the years. They play real, genuine, I mean, sit down, write music, wake up in the middle of the night, and there's a song in their head, and they jump out of bed. If they're not going to fight a bear, they'll sit down and write a song. That's real music. That's real music. Some of this other stuff, if it wouldn't be for technology, it would never get out of somebody's window. I really feel certain about that.
Well, that and the musicians seem to be imitating each other's style, and then also they have the microphones that can really just, you know, totally change their voice. You know, make somebody that like myself. I was in a church, and I got on the microphone. I was like, man, I sound good, and I know I don't sound that good. So it's amazing what the microphone can do. You know, that's not my voice.
Remus, when you said you cut your teeth on bluegrass. I love bluegrass, but that's real music. That's real music. That's the place where music came from. You know, places like that.
Yeah, Yeah, well, the old Appalachian stuff, it's based on a lot of Scottish and Irish tradition, and it's just got that flavor. And then, of course, the blues, permeating throughout everything, and bluegrass, and actually playing instruments. I mean, people back then would pick up an instrument and just figure it out. They didn't have universities to go to or people to teach them. They just kind of figured it out, and they made such unique, amazing music that it just permeates to this day. It's incredible stuff. And I mean, that was the thing when I was a kid. My dad would sit down with his banjo or dulcimer, whichever he decided to play that night, and we just start singing and start playing, and all that old time stuff. It just flows through, and it's real music. It's real, genuine music. It's what people are experiencing. They're making it real. It's not. Yeah, I mean, the big thing about digital stuff, I think the technology out there is great because it does give budding musicians opportunities. But like anything, it can be used for other things, and you can have everybody out there with a computer program make an album, and all they did was push a couple of buttons. So
it always amazed me because, and you mentioned your dad pick up the banjo or pick up whatever. It's always amazed me that people can do that. You talk about a gift from heaven. People that's never had no training, no lessons,
right?
Just pick it up, look at it, and say, okay. I pick it up, and I'm still looking. That's 72 years later. I'm still looking at it like, what do I do with this thing? It just amazes me. Tracey,
yep.
with all this stuff that's going on, and there, my boss lady. That's my boss lady. After 52 years, I got to call her the boss. She's the boss. I submitted a long time ago, but she said, "Enjoy the music from Remus. Tracey, you are a terrific manager." What's some of the hardest things that you face as a manager?
Yeah, there's a lot, but I think it's getting the exposure, the right exposure for the artist, because you have to put yourself in their position, and put their needs first. So you have to really go for what would make them the most successful, instead of what you would think, maybe, this is a great opportunity, but it may not be for that particular person. So you really kind of have to watch what you're doing and make sure, everything is going to be beneficial.
Well, wait a minute. So, Remus, you just mentioned the blues, and we just now heard Tracey talk about the getting the right venue. So here's a question. So have you ever been to a venue where, like the Blues Brothers, where they're throwing bottles at the performers, and have you seen anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they're throwing them at them in anger. I think there was some other elements that was involved. Don't you, Remus? I mean, there was some other influence.
Yeah, there have been. I played some shows in places where you walk in, and there's one place I played called Blondie's. It was in Detroit, and Blondie's is it was a punk metal bar. And so they hired us to come on in there and play. It's like, all right, we'll do it. Not realizing that there's a punk metal bar. So we walked in, and it was, everybody just kind of gave us a look, and we're like, we're just going to die. And that's it. This is the end of Remus Tucker, his last show. And we got up on stage and we started playing, and everybody got into it. In fact, we had a couple of guys got a little overzealous and were coming up there and grabbing the microphone and hitting the monitors and stuff. And it was funny. There was a biker gang in there, and so they walked up, grabbed a hold of these guys, took them outside. They came back in and said, "You can play now." So we did.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good to have people around like that. See, wow. So go ahead, Ed.
I've loved bikers ever since.
So what is the maybe the biggest opening act you did, or the biggest show you've done?
Well, biggest show, we opened for Dwight Yoakam at the Taste of Colorado. That was last year. That was probably one of our biggest shows we've done. I love the Taste of Colorado. Love playing it. Usually play it every year. Of course, this year not, but that was pretty amazing. And then we also have opened and played with Firefall out here in Colorado. So yeah, a couple of really great shows, some big names, and yeah, just key points in my career.
Tracey, this before this thing jumped on us, Denver was becoming one of the biggest music hubs in the country, wasn't it?
It's definitely growing. We're expanding like crazy, and there's a lot of opportunity here. So I would say we're getting up there.
Yeah, you are. You sure are.
Yeah, Denver's kind of like
talent.
Denver to me is like Atlanta. Nobody there is from Colorado.
I know. I am one of the few locals. I moved away, but I came back. So
yeah, it's Denver's, well, at least Colorado is one of the only places I've ever seen houses that are literally in the mountain. I mean, like not just on the mountain, they're like in the mountain. And I found that fascinating. It's like, okay, man, first off, it's scary driving up here. Some places no railing, and I'm like, okay, man, I hope I can stay on the road here. This is not good.
Well, we're getting so crowded, people are getting desperate to find a place to live.
Is that right?
Traffic 24/7. I mean, I'm down in the tech center, and it's a nightmare. It's all the traffic all the time, and it's all out-of-state cars I see.
So, guys, are the all the venues closed in and around and through Denver and throughout the state of Colorado?
Most of them.
Yeah.
There's a few still open, but.
Yeah, the governor is going through and telling everybody that they can't serve alcohol after 10. And they're also
same thing in Ohio.
Really?
Right. And they're also looking at closing down the live acts just because it's getting hard to kind of police it with social distancing and all that stuff. So yeah, I look for a lot of these venues to kind of put themselves on pause for a while once we get a handle on this.
There's a few venues open that have outdoor patios, and they'll have maybe a band or a solo artist play outside. But any kind of concert venue now, those are all pretty much shut down. And some are shut down for good, unfortunately.
Yeah. It is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
It's just going to continue, I'm afraid. We're going to lose more and more.
Yeah. I was going to say it, but I won't say it. Yeah, I'll say it anyhow. I never was politically correct. You can go ride in the streets and gather in thousands upon thousands, but you can't go to church and you can't go listen to the Remus Tucker Band. Now, I think that is a shame in and of itself that you can't go see Remus Tucker and the band. By the way, Remus, you got a new drummer. Did I read that right?
We picked up a new drummer. His name's Ryan Douglas, and it's kind of funny. I moved up here to the mountains, bought a place up here, and just happened to meet him. My wife was down at the bus stop and talked to his wife, and I went over and met him, and I said, "So you play drums, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, a little." And so he auditioned for me, Sorta. And I was like, "You're hired." So I brought him on. He's a great guy. He's a great drummer.
One of them Sorta guys. Yeah. I sort of can do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
And while he's sort of doing it, you just stand there and say, wow, that's better than, Anyhow, Tracey, the hard things of managing bands, finding the right fit for them, where they're going to go next, what they're going to do next. Then there's all the financial things that you have to do. You push a pretty heavy wagon up the hill, don't you?
It's at times. you know, it can be tough. There's a lot of work, but you know, if some bands already have a team in place, there are some that will already have a publicist or a booking agent, then it makes my life a lot easier. But with bands, independent bands starting out, a lot of times you take on, as a manager, you take on every single role. You're booking, you're, you know, helping them basically with everything, with branding, with marketing, with social media. And it's a lot. But once they get more established, then you can kind of delegate those tasks and find people to take them over. So you're just kind of focusing more on the artist.
Do you ever get mixed up? You know, like when people, I don't do it. But I watch other people do it. They'll text 2 people, 3 people at the same time. Do you ever, like, and sometimes they get their texts mixed up. They're saying,
I've done that.
Have you done that?
Yes.
Yeah. It would be easy enough to mix something up when you're dealing with several different people, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, I made that mistake. And I went into a venue one time. I was checking it out to see if I wanted to book some bands there. And I went in and I walked in the door and there was this fight breaking out. And so I went to text the band and said, I don't think this place is a good idea. But I texted the guy that owned the place instead. I was like, oh.
And just
right here.
Remus, let me ask you this. I might have asked you this before. If I did, forgive me. This songwriting, that's another thing that intrigues me. I mean, does it just come? Now, I write a lot, and I know that how that happens. But does it work similar to when, as a writer? Does it work similar when you get a song?
Well, the way I work is I will have something in my head, either a melody or a lyric, sometimes even like a poem in my head, and that'll just kind of spark me to say, this might be a song. It was funny. I was out cleaning out the chicken coop one day, and just sitting there, you know, doing what you do. And that's when a song Playing in Lodo kind of popped in my head. I'm like, hey, that sounds pretty cool. So I, got done, came in, sat down with my mandolin, and because I like to write on my mandolin, it just seems more fluid for me to do that, and just put it out on paper. So yeah, it all depends. Sometimes I'll have a dream and I'll wake up and go, hey, that melody in that dream was pretty good. So yeah, it's just I don't really sit down with the intention of writing a song, unless somebody has a melody that sounds really cool. Then I can sit down and go, yeah, I could put some stuff to that. But yeah, I just don't intentionally sit down and write it. They just come to me, and then I put them down.
Has anyone asked you to write a song for them, and have you used anyone else's song for your own?
I have had somebody ask me to write a song for them. It was kind of funny. We were doing a show one time, and there was this girl out in the audience. She was having a birthday, and so since blues is something that everybody loves, we just did a blues tune for her on the fly. And she loved it, made her cry, and it was great. Using someone else's song, all the songs that we do right now, we do a few covers here and there, just because we like to mix it up. But for the most part, all the songs that we have on the albums and everything, like the first album was a collaborative effort from the previous band that I was with, and then these 2 songs, Lonely Mile and Come On, and Playing a Lodo, those were mine. That I came up with, and then my boys in the band kind of their parts in. So yeah, we typically don't take somebody else's song and do it as our own. We have been asked to do that before, but it's hard for me because if I don't have a feeling for it, it's hard for me to do it justice. So,
Tracey, how many people do you have under your management?
Currently, 4.
Jeffrey, he's still under your wing?
I'm still working with Jeffrey. Yes, I just talked to him today, and new music coming soon.
New music coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, and you can go back, you can go to, let me put that up for you, because I'll split and splutter and get it all wrong. I've just got to find stuff, that's all. I can't see for speaking. But anyhow, I think it was back in September. I think it was somewhere around September. Tracey worked with me, and she did a tremendous job. And we ran a whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All musicians in and around the Denver area. And she put it all together. I mean, she was contacting this person, putting them in touch with me over here and over there. All 5 nights. I mean, we had incredible musicians from out there in that area. And she was so gracious to do that. And I have been indebted to her. I just, it's beyond words. But
that was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of work that she does. We might sit back here because we're not right inside. We're not in the nucleus of the industry. When we see performers up on stage and doing their thing and we're into it and we're listening to the music and the music's in us, we just think, wow, that's wonderful. But Remus, there's a lot of tremendous work that goes on behind the scene before you even step a foot on that stage, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. And Tracey can speak to this. I mean, first of all, is getting the venue set up, getting the sound set up, getting, the promotion out there, all of that. There's a ton of work. And then we rehearse constantly before the pandemic, but we rehearse constantly just to make sure our show was tight and good and could put on a good one. So yeah, there's a ton of work that goes behind it. I mean, you come out, you may see a 2 or 3 hour show, but there's, weeks and weeks of effort that happened before that show.
Tracey, what about the if somebody wanted to become a manager, what's the best way to do it? Should they go to school to do that? Should they do an intern or what's the big training, the big hoop to get through the doors?
I'd say maybe a little of both. I think having a business background helps, so maybe have at least a general working knowledge of how a business operates, how finances run, things like that. I do think the hands-on experience is the most important, though. So yeah, if you could get an internship or even throw yourself in, just start doing it, because I think a lot of what you learn is going to be hands-on, and a school can't teach you that. You just have to get in there and do it and figure it out as you go.
Well, what's the best and the worst? What's the best experience you can expect, and what's the worst?
Well, the best is, that the artist is succeeding and they're happy. They're going where they want to go in their career, and you are contributing to that. The worst is, just personality conflicts and, nobody's happy and just, it's just not working out. You can't ever do anything to please them. It just varies. But, in that kind of a situation, you just move on, and find somebody else you're compatible with. I really haven't had any horrible experiences, so.
I was going to say, George, we're moving on then, buddy, because you're giving me too much static all the time.
My wife put that up. How about what they did for your birthday? If I live to be 100, which I don't think so, but I will never forget. In fact, every now and then, I'll get in the files and I'll pull that up. Where all the people that week, Remus and Tracey and all of them, put together a little tape and played for me on my birthday. And it literally, because of you guys, it literally brought me to tears. I'm glad we were on the radio because if we would have been on camera then, my eyes looked like a water fountain, and it was just hard to speak. It was hard to get a word out because of the appreciation and I mean I just felt it. And they gave me, that was one of the best birthday presents that I have ever received in my life. And I thank you, Remus. I thank you for it, and Tracy, I thank you for it, and all the other guys and gals that was involved.
Isn't that coming up again? When is your birthday again?
Next month.
Coming soon, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
We were getting close.
George, you do so much for a lot of people. I mean, that is the least we could have done for you. I mean,
Absolutely.
we wanted to do something nice because you do give us all a platform. You get our name out there. You get people hearing our stuff. And that doesn't just go for us. It goes for everybody. That tunes in and all the bands you have on and stuff like that. So. That is a hard thing to find in the industry, is somebody that is willing to take that time and help us out, because it's a hard business. It truly is. And to have somebody, take us in and feed us and give us clean socks, and put us out there. We appreciate it, and we appreciate everything you do for us.
Definitely.
Now there's what the boss lady said. He ugly cried. and she's telling the absolute truth. I ugly cried that day.
It's too bad I didn't see it. I would have made a nice video clip and ruined your reputation forever.
But it was so it was just so heartfelt coming from everybody out that way. And I appreciate it so very much. And it's a rough business out there, as Remus said. And then with this thing that fell down upon us, it's not making it any easier. But somehow, some way, we're going to get through this. And ladies and gentlemen, please do this. I got to put this up here again, because here's how it's going to go. At 2:00 my time, Eastern Daylight Time, tomorrow, I got things up here that I got to put up, and they all run together after a while. But right there at Spreaker.com/user/Espinlob, or just come to the George Espinlob Show page on Facebook, and you'll be able to tap right into it. What we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to take Remus's music and we're going to put it on the air, and I'm going to call it the Remus Hour, the Hour with Remus. But you're going to hear Remus Tucker Band music. I'm telling you, some of the sweetest music this side of heaven. I'm telling you, it'll do something for you. I remember the last time I had you on the radio, Remus, there was some people that was in a camper. And they was in the chat room on the radio. They was in a camper, and they were in South Carolina. one of those, and they said they were, remember that? They were jamming to Remus, because we talk a while, we play some songs, we talk a while. They were jamming, and the one man said he had all Remus's music on his playlist already, from the time the show started till we got to that point.
Nice.
He had loaded up. And I thought, well, that's only natural. Everybody in America and around the world should have Remus Tucker music on their playlist. And if I sound like I'm somewhat partial, it's because I'm somewhat partial. Ed, what do you got going?
And I appreciate it.
Nothing, George. I did wanted to. I was going to pull up a graphic when I remember seeing Remus on. I had done some research a while back, and I remember him being on a chart, and I don't remember what the chart was or what it says, but clearly, Remus has been climbing charts, and this coronavirus is shutting people down, and it's unfortunate. That's why I said hopefully there's some unique ways. I know you were talking about you were bringing a studio at the house. You know, I don't know if you've tried this, but you know, there's been some band. Yeah, I know you've seen some things. You know that like several bands or several components of bands, and somehow they pulled it together on the video, even though they're in separate places where they're all playing together.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
Right. Yeah, that's something we were looking at doing too, because once we get the studio stuff set up in place here, and everybody else, that'll be a whole lot easier to do. And it's amazing, the technology out there. So it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, we want to get a live stream one of these days. Hopefully we can pull it off.
George knows it was looking into something where you
Yes,
you have like membership fees. You know what I mean?
we're not only going to pull it off, we're going to make it happen. Guaranteed. You can take that to the bank. And if I'm not here, the good Lord takes me home. You're gone. You're gone. I believe that with all my heart. Remus told me one time, I don't remember if it was on the telephone or on an email or message or whatever it was, but he said, someday a limousine's going to come. Do you remember, Remus? A limousine's going to come and pick you up.
I do remember that.
Yep, a limousine's going to
I do remember that.
and take you to the show. And
Oh, yeah.
I believe that with all my heart. Every fiber of my being, I believe that.
That will happen. We get a show out there, that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a limit.
I told you
That's
once
right.
you play out there, you'll be sitting at home and there'll be a limousine that'll drive up and say, "Get in the car, George."
All right. All righty. Listen, guys, I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, right there, Spreaker.com, or just come to the George S. Love Show page tomorrow. It'll be up there, and you just click on it, and it'll take you to the music. And you talk about real, down to earth. I mean, if it don't move you, you're dead. I'm saying. If it don't move you, you're dead. It'll make you come alive. If you're feeling down, it'll lift you up.
George, can you demonstrate how you dance when the music's on?
Oh, I got all.
Oh,
this,
yeah.
I
got to
all
see this.
I got all this stuff around. I'm better in the kitchen with me and Mom.
I've seen you two dancing. That's.
But what we'll do is we'll set the camera up in Mom's kitchen, and we'll run a live. And this is what we're going to do. We got it planned. I announced it last night. We're gonna have a night, maybe Saturday night, where we're gonna do nothing but music on our lives. We're not using copyright music, written music, and all that good stuff. We got great sounds from artists that people probably never even heard of. But I mean, you will jam. So we're gonna set the camera up in Mom's kitchen where there's lots of room, and we're just gonna jam. And Mom and I'll cut a rug. Hope we don't break no bones, but nonetheless, we'll get it done. Because that's what music is all about. That's what music that's the universal language, isn't it, Remus?
Absolutely. It speaks to everybody.
Yes, indeedy. Yeah. And you don't, just the sound of the music, the harmony and the melodies. You don't even have to know what the words are and whatever language they're singing in. It's the music. Wow. Remus, Tracey, thank you so very, very much for taking the time out tonight. Thank you for telling us your bear story. Not the bear story, the bear account. That's pretty good. The bear account.
My pleasure.
Thank you for doing all that. And we're going to move upward, outward, and onward. And I'm just
George, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us on. I appreciate it, and thank you for all you do. It is really greatly appreciated. And Ed is a great media man. And I tell you what, I'm looking forward to the next time we're on.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
Definitely. Yes. Thank you guys very much.
You too.
All right.
Nice meeting you, Tracey.
Nice to meet
you, Tracey. I'll be in touch with you, Remus.
That's good.
We'll go from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me find this one little thing here. Hope I didn't make everybody go away. But just to show you, we do play music. Come on. Work with me now. There you go. We do play music. Let me put this down here real quick. Bring me back up again so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Uh, if you heard any bells or whistles or dings or that sort, just it's normal. This is a funny farm. Remember, this is the funny farm. We hear those sounds all the time. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, down the street, around the corner, across America, and around this great big world, thank you from the depths of our heart. Remus thanks you. Tracey thanks you. Ed thanks you. I thank you. And the whole gang here at the Funny Farm, we thank you very, very, very much. Remember a couple things before we go. Take care of one another. Be kind. Be kind one to another. And don't ever be afraid to say I love you. It could possibly save a life, especially in the times that we live in now, because people are feeling it everywhere. So look them in the eye and say, I love you, and mean it. Mean it. You could possibly save a life. So if it's nighttime, wherever you're at, you have a great night. If it's daytime, you have a great day. Regardless wherever you're at and what time it is, I trust that God will keep you right in the center of his hand. And we're going to leave here with this. Good night, everybody.